Welcome, everyone, to Analytics Are for the Nerds. It's Ryan and Allie today, and we've got a lot to talk about. Week 7's coming up. Let's go. This is how I'm doing good, guys. This is what happens. This is what happens. Wait. This is what we're doing. We're just going to go up. Do we have to play the video, Ryan?
No, I don't think we do, but now...
I got the video. Oh. We should do the video. Should we do the video?
Do the video.
Let's go.
This guy is in the Hall of Fame, consensus Hall of Fame, and I think he sucks. Troy Aikman is absolutely...
Let's go!
So overrated. He is so overrated.
Those glasses that you're wearing and that fire behind you, I cannot even come close to embarrassing myself as much as you have.
Grateful I'll be a lady tonight, yeah!
Thank you. And some people apparently like Louis, don't like almond joys, and those people are idiots.
I'm gonna give you the best deal, the greatest of deals. We need the tight end. We're big on the tight end.
You're not saying embarrassing songs. You're saying songs that make me dry. So,
hard to deal with. And I'm just saying, there ain't no rules about a man having 3 legs. I'm just saying.
Nick Foles was also a 3-leg, but it's funny in the chat. Allie just asked if we could get Ryan a Coleman jersey. Funny you say that. I ordered it the day after round 2 of the draft. I ordered it that Saturday. So it's on its way. It's already pre-ordered. So whenever they start picking those things for shipping out, you get one.
Wait! You paid money to the NFL when Louis could have gotten you one from China?
I could have got you one that said KOHLM.
Cole's man.
Working all night, need more though. I remember nights I was poor though. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus.
I am so glad it cut back to us. Otherwise, I'm like, we're screwed, Ryan. We're screwed.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. That was it. No, now we're never going to hear the end of how important Louis is to the show to have this smooth production.
You know what? Louis always thinks that I look like a stoner, and I'm not. I know I come across as one, but I'm not. And I think Louis's like magic mushroom and weed thing just helps him focus. Because I was like, oh, you have to multitask. So this might be our last episode ever.
Yeah, well, he's a producer for a reason. Obviously, his editing skills, his video skills are unmatched.
Yeah. So if you have noticed, Louis is not here today, and it's Ryan and I. So it's we got the brains here, Ryan. I am going to toot your horn. You had a really, really exciting week, kind of amazing. And speaking of weed, you were just at the Supreme Court of the United States. And do you want to kind of talk about that? That was like a really cool, amazing thing that just happened in your life, which
Sure. So our firm has handled a case for a client who had a case that was recently certified and just recently argued at the Supreme Court. So I had the opportunity to go and observe the oral argument on, I guess yesterday. It feels like a long time ago, but it was just yesterday. It was a long day, but was the most incredible experience of my life as far as professional experiences go. And just being there, meeting the attorney who argued the case is a absolute legend at the Supreme Court level. And it was just a absolutely surreal experience being there and watching that. So yeah, it was fun and definitely felt like, going to like a big league game, right? You're only watching like a AAA baseball team your whole life, and then you go to a big league game. You're like, wow, okay, this is different. So it was very, very cool.
Yeah. Was Judge Amy Barrett just like, she just looks like she doesn't blink. She looks a little stiff. So I noticed. If a simpleton like me explaining to an attorney. So this was, let me know if I'm getting this correct. So there was a truck driver that said he was taking like a CBD kind of pill, but it turns out he got drug tested and they found THC in his system. So he failed his drug test. So then he basically got fired because of the lack of correct labeling on the CBD gummy pill, whatever. Is that kind of what the?
That's right. Those are some of the background facts of the, the underlying action. The question that was before the Supreme Court was a very limited one relating to civil RICO actions and whether or not they're available for basically lost earnings, which are typically a measure of damages for personal injury actions. So it was very specific and legal, question. It was interesting to see the justices, certain of them, you could tell which side they were on based on the questions they were giving either of the two sides. And then others you could tell are going to be kind of the swing justices in this one. So will be interesting to see. Probably won't receive a decision until like February or so, but we'll see.
I love the idea of like knowing that the one of the justices are on your side. They're like, so weed's legal, right? And like I just imagine them like leading like these questions. I don't know. It's amazing. It's really amazing. It's really cool. And I'm sure also just as an attorney, when you know your case has these legs or these questions that don't have an answer yet, it's pretty cool to know that you're,
Well, it's less than 1% of cases are certified to the Supreme Court, and you never would even expect in any case that you're going to end up there, even in a federal court case, which we'll handle those cases, but it's almost never getting to the Supreme Court. So watching that and having that experience was once in a lifetime. For sure.
Congratulations. And any Western New Yorkers, look at us being local and going to the Supreme Court, our own little Elwoods right here. So see, Lou's not here and we're talking about legal marijuana. Look at us. So everything and nothing. We're going to keep it a little bit of, we're going to do the court thing because, again, what an amazing week. And we can, wait for it. Look at me producing. There we go. I'm going to just, the mirror clock will be on all day.
Already?
You're just talking this whole time, Ryan. I'm so sorry. So we all know that the Menendez brothers, there's a potential for them to be released. I don't have to get into why. Everyone's kind of on it. But another interesting case, Michael Jordan's dad, he was murdered back in 1993. They went to court in 1996 and they convicted someone. And his name was Daniel Green. So now the retired judge who was overseeing that case, Judge Gregory Weeks, is calling on the commission to release Daniel Green because they found out over 30 years later that forensic blood experts failed to disclose to the court that the blood in the car where Michael's dad was in, the blood came back negative and inconclusive. So we've got another court case, this one dealing with Michael Jordan, which was huge in the 90s, if anyone remembers that case. I was alive, sorry. But that's another case that's going to be turned over. So any thoughts on that? I know celebrities are getting this, or is it just now we're learning how to be better humans? What's your take?
No, my take on this is that we now have settled the MJ versus LeBron debate because LeBron has never lost a court case in his life, and now I think everyone that was on the fence, maybe going with LeBron here now. I guess there does seem to be more and more, I guess, maybe publication of cases where there's new evidence or some evidence that might exonerate someone. Sometimes I think it can be overblown, some of the evidence, and certain cases that I've seen in the death penalty, regardless of your opinion on that, just on whether or not it's a conviction should be overturned. It's a pretty high bar, but again, it's a case by case situation. And now it's just, I think, because of social media, people are learning about more of these, and that's why it can kind of garner so much like public interest, right?
Yeah. So what else that's a great take. So more sports news. Jake Paul is boxing Mike Tyson in a month. Something about a 20-something punching a 60-something sounds weird. Is this something you're interested in?
I'm interested in it only to get like your perspective and thoughts on like whether or this is like a legitimate thing, or like what is the deal here? Like, is this? I mean, I think most things that we see are kind of put on for us, and there has to be some kind of like backdoor deal about, I mean, I don't know if Tyson is going to win or not. I don't know if it's going to be close. I don't know. What do you think? Is this all like a big setup? Is this a legitimate fight? I can't get a read on it, but my typical default setting is like, oh yeah, this is all fake.
Well, if Monster Energy drink does like some weird collab between the two of them, we'll know it's fake. But there's something like, I mean, I always used to think Jake Paul was such a, I was like, oh, this guy's just a TikToker. But I'm like, he's an actual fighter and he's legit. But Mike Tyson is massive. So who knows? But I guess it has to be. I mean, they're probably getting a huge payout. I can't imagine how many hundreds of millions of dollars they're each getting. Even after Vegas, but
Oh, that's the thing. I think that's why they're doing it. But is there some like agreement that
don't break my nose?
Yeah, I don't know. What incentive does Mike Tyson have to do it other than the big paycheck, which might be incentive enough, but
yeah,
I don't know. He's got a legacy on the line. I don't know. I guess maybe this doesn't move it one way or another, but
and he's so peaceful now. Yeah, he's he's this vegan guy that just is like doesn't want to. I don't know, but. I'll be watching. I'm interested in that. And then let's see how long this is going to take me to figure this. Oh, there we go. So I did it just well enough. So we had some very big news this week, very big trades. Amari Cooper went to the Bills and Devontae went to the Jets. And that all came right after week 6. And there's a lot of hits and misses. Do you want to talk about last week's? I know you had a few hits. You want to talk about those?
Sure. Yeah. Just quickly on the hits and misses. My cats and dogs last week. My cat was Jalen Hurts, which did not hit. He finished as a QB8. So, all right, I'll concede to Jalen. But my dogs both hit. It was Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson getting back on track. Bijan had 2 touchdowns. He was still out touched by Tyler Algier, 18-15. So that's still a bit concerning, but definitely paid off. And then, Breece, there was obviously a concerted effort to get him more involved in the game plan. And he certainly paid off. Could have even had a bigger night, but definitely still hit as well. So speaking of the Jets, I guess I'm okay with the trade. I mean, you can't really be someone that says you want this player for your team, right? I'm a Bills fan, and I wanted Devontae Adams for the Bills, and then the Jets get him. You can't really turn around and say, well, that was dumb. But at the same time, we have different teams. I don't think they're Devontae Adams away from a legitimate contender here. I know their games were pretty close, but to me, that's not really their issue. Their issue isn't having a legitimate second option. I mean, Allen Lazard was playing fine, and Garrett Wilson was arguably underused. So that wasn't to me what was going to solve their problem. I still think a lot of their issues rest with the offensive line, and they're not really going to have someone offering to trade them a linchpin offensive line piece before the trade deadline comes up. So I guess what else are you going to do? It was a good price, so he'll be fine. I think the fantasy impact is that Wilson will still be a pretty, solid wide receiver too. Adams is going to be the target monster, I think, and he's going to get the red zone looks. I think Allen Lazard is basically as good as dust. Mike Williams is not going to report to the team, didn't show up today, and is either going to get cut or traded. So that's that. And then I have to like the Cooper move. I mean, for the Bills, there's a need, and there's been a need for a while. They've been in talks. I think they thought, let's see if we can make this work, knowing full well that there would be these wide receiver trade targets. I think that was part of the design, is to kind of wait it out, see how it goes, develop Coleman, and then maybe get some help as the trade deadline comes up, and boom, there's Cooper. The price is fair. He definitely has had some efficiency dip in the last season, but he also plays with the world's worst person and worst quarterback, Deshaun Watson. So that's going to very much affect what he's doing on the field. So I'm optimistic about Cooper. I think he probably has the bigger impact of the two before the rest of the season. Even though I think you probably odds-on favorite Devontae is going to have more targets, I think Cooper's production is going to outweigh Devontae's.
Yeah, I think it was a great trade for the Bills. How many more losses do the Jets have to get before they realize it's not about the coaching?
I think they probably already know that. Deep down, I don't know. I mean, Woody Johnson seems to be a little bit of, or should I say, Ambassador Johnson, right? I guess if anyone doesn't call him that, he takes offense. I mean, my God, he just they're stuck with Rodgers for the rest of this year. They're probably going to have to draft one next year, but they might not be bad enough to get one of the top guys anyway. So I could see them making a little bit of a run here. I think they can make it interesting. I still think they're probably a 10-7 team or a 9-8 team, but they could try to sneak in. It's just going to be tough this year with a lot of teams right around that range too.
Yeah, there was a TMZ picture of Robert Saleh just like coming out of a store doing errands, and he had like the greatest smile on his face after that Jets loss. And so, at least we give it to him for having a great Tuesday. So
no, I figured I'd give it to him for having a great smile because I know how much you love.
I mean, you love him, and I know he's just the best. So we're gonna do a little couple of dynasty questions. I want to know about last week we talked about some trades, and I know there was you were going to trade with Louis with Nico Collins for Diggs.
So yeah, we ended up getting that one done. It was we talked about the framework of a deal. He had offered something, countering involving AJ Brown, which I didn't really want to get into. But we ended up I just kind of added more pieces to an offer I previously had and just see if that got it done, and it did. So it was ultimately Nico Collins for Stephon Diggs, Deshaun Watson, Darnell Mooney, Aiden O'Connell, and Jaleel McLaughlin. So it's a lot of smaller pieces for a bigger piece. Diggs, though, I mean, obviously he paid off that first week. He looked great, even against Christian Gonzalez, who's a good corner for New England. He's probably a wide receiver, low end, or I'd say he's probably a mid-range wide receiver 2 at worst for the rest of the season. I mean, he's locked in as the primary option now. And so it seemed like a fair deal. Deshaun, to me, is, the warning signs have been there for a while, but who knows? Darnell Mooney's had a nice year, and I think that's going to continue. And the other two are just kind of, throw-ins and see if you can get anything out of those. So yeah, that was good. We did finally get a trade done. And this is kind of the time, if you haven't decided already in dynasty leagues, whether you're a contender or a rebuilder, you should probably do it by next week at the latest, because deals are going to start getting done and teams are going to, start filling their needs. And you want to be one of those if you're a rebuilder, because the resources are going to dry up.
Perfect. Because I'm weird, we're going to play Who Would You Rather? And first one up will be Patrick Mahomes or Jaden Daniels. Who would you rather have in your dynasty?
That is such an interesting question, because it's so hard to proclaim, everyone is so quick and they want to proclaim, the next guy is the next best thing, right? This, young rookie who comes in and looks really, really good. And you get really excited about him. I think my answer to this question is I still think I would prefer Jaden Daniels to Patrick Mahomes, even though it's only been 6 games. So it's tough to say, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes is not a rushing quarterback, so you're really not going to ever have that rushing floor. And Jaden Daniels is it looks like to me, he's like a Lamar Jackson type track where you're guaranteed that rushing production. So if he stays healthy, you have, a true difference maker at the position. So yeah, I think right now, if I'm making I'd make a trade straight up, Jaden Daniels for Patrick Mahomes. So.
All right. Great take. Who would you rather have, CeeDee Lamb or Malik Neighbors?
See, this is another interesting one, because I actually made a deal involving these two players earlier in the summer, actually just before the season started. No, this would have been back at the rookie draft in May. So I traded away that pick, Malik Neighbors, the pick that ultimately was taken at, and a second round pick this coming year for CD Lamb. And at the time, it's an elite talent, still think he's an elite talent, and was happy to get the, surefire 25-year-old entering his prime, uncontested wide receiver 1 for the Cowboys. But right now, I tell you what, I don't think I'd do that trade right now if you ask me. Malik Neighbors does look to be like a surefire thing too, and I think I might rather have him in the couple extra years that you might get of production as a 21-year-old rookie. So it's a close one, but I think Malik Neighbors might legitimately be the wide receiver 1 overall right now, which is just crazy to say. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I guess he's wide receiver 2. I can't put him above Jefferson. So
that's your hot take then. You're like, you know what? He's actually wide receiver 2 this week. All right. I love it. So, and then not a weird, creepy question. Are you concerned about Sam Laporta in your dynasty league?
I would say a little bit. I don't think I'm concerned long-term, because I think typically how these things work is that when you have someone that you've seen the talent, you have the draft pedigree over time. I think that kind of works itself out. But this is an offense. They're throwing, screens to Penny Sewell, offensive linemen, and they're just having fun out there. I know it was just a blowout against Dallas, but they're going to spread the ball around. They have a lot of mouths to feed. They have a lot of really good weapons, and it could just be like a, almost like a different version of a Green Bay offense, where you have just so many different players that are going to need to get some targets, including their running backs and including, a wide receiver that we kind of wrote off and, thought he was dead in Jamison Williams. But I'm a little concerned on like the next, couple of weeks for a redraft, but for dynasty, I'm still holding strong and thinking that he kind of corrects and regresses to the mean.
All right. So my take would just say sell all your players. That's not where you're going to go with this week. Okay. So we're going to go through great hot takes, Ryan. Louis would just say, Sam Darnold, right? He would just keep going back to Sam
Why
Darnold.
are we not talking about Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold. I know that's the big winner this year, Sam Darnold, right?
Yes.
So we're going to go through the games of the week. I'm just going to ask you to get your hot takes. Anything you want to say about it. Doesn't have to be that long. Could be short and sweet. Just remember, I'm proficient in Microsoft Word, not this system. So it might take me a second, everyone. But let's go. Thursday night football game, Broncos versus the Saints. What do you got, Ryan?
What an atrocious matchup. Are we serious here? It's such a shame too, considering how much I love the Thursday night broadcast. If you haven't watched in Prime Vision, you have to do that. It's just so much better to see. I would watch every game in Prime Vision every time. It's just, you see the open receivers. It's a much better way to watch a game. But anyways, and you have Fitzpatrick. But with the Saints, you have no Olave, you have no Shaheed, no Taysom Hill if you care. Kamara's banged up, and Spencer Rattler's at quarterback, who looked like he could play. But come on, I'm not starting any Saints. If I have even a slightly better option or even a slightly worse option, I'd say. In deep leagues, if you're really desperate, I think Bub Means is probably the play at receiver. But yuck, I'm just kind of out. Denver, and Bo Nix, maybe. He has more rushing upside, I think, than people realize. And New Orleans has one of the worst rush defenses in the league. So the signs might point to Javonte. But, with Jaleel McLaughlin getting as much pass catching work as he has and Estimate possibly getting more touches, I probably would stay away from this game for the most part, other than Knicks and Superflex. So my hot take after all of that is that Estimate is the one that does get hot, and he's one of the leading waiver wire pickups for next week.
Nice. Another very interesting game to watch. Just kidding. The Patriots versus the Jaguars. What do you got?
Yeah, what a way to start off the week with these two games. It's like, really, let's the opposite of starting strong. I guess I'll start with New England.
At least it's early. It's an early game.
Right, it's early, nothing like
Go to
starting
church
your
for
day
one.
off with some Patriots Jacksonville in London. Yeah, right. But I do think this is a week people start to get a little excited about Drake May, if they haven't already. So, he's looked pretty good so far, and I think he's only going to continue to get better. And they're going to be in negative pass happy game scripts for most, if not all, of the year. So let's go. Our short king, Demario Douglas, a little 5'7" guy. He's probably going to be a low end wide receiver 3 this week. He's the only one that's really kind of shown to consistently earn some targets with Drake May. So I'm not going to trust any of the other receivers, but or Gibson, honestly, unless you have a real need there. Tight end is a wasteland, so probably just hope Henry catches a touchdown. In Jacksonville, I think Bigsby will have a little bit better week, so I'd say start him in most cases, but he's not going to be used in the passing game, so I think his upside's like a high-end running back 2 instead of a running back 1. I do think Ingram will probably get like 8 to 10 targets this week, and I like Thomas Jr. to catch a touchdown in this game, but my hot take is that New England wins this game, and Doug Peterson gets fired on Monday morning.
Ooh. All right. You heard it here, everyone. And if that doesn't happen, we just won't talk about it, right?
You'll never see this clip again. But if it does happen, you'll see it in 3 weeks when Louis pulls the clip for us.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll just erase this episode. This is a game I'm very excited about: the Lions versus the Vikings. The 5-0 Vikings versus the 4-1 Lions. What do you got?
So the Lions are favored in this game. I heard that today. I think by 3.5 or something like that. I can check that. I'm sure someone can check that for me. But to me, that feels like kind of like it's like a sucker bet, right? The Minnesota is undefeated, okay? And I know Detroit just dismantled the Lions, and they're they just dismantled the Cowboys, and they're an excellent team. But I think people want people to bet on Detroit, so that makes me think Minnesota might win this game, and that's just I'm trying to outsmart Vegas, and so it's just trying to play game theory here. Specific players, I mean, you're basically starting everyone. You want to start Goff. He's in a dome again. He's unreal in a dome, and he's got St. Brown, yes. Williams, I guess, sure, why not? I'm still starting Laporta if I have him. I'm starting Gibbs and Montgomery. So all systems go really with any of your Saints, any of your Lions. With Minnesota, I think, yes, back with Darnold. Running back will be interesting. I personally think that Chandler is going to just get the Lions share, and Akers was just a backup kind of depth move for them. So go get Ty Chandler, on the waiver wire if you still can, if he's out there. At wide receiver, you're starting both Jefferson and Addison in a game that you're going to expect them to need to throw and score a lot of points. And Hawkinson is probably not back yet, but he's due back soon. So no, I'm not going to start Johnny Mundt in the meantime. But I don't really have a hot take here. I guess maybe my hot take is that the Vikings are going to win. I mean, is it a hot take to say that an undefeated team will stay undefeated? I mean, maybe against a team like the Lions, but I'll leave it at that the Vikings actually win this game.
I think also rested Vikings, that's going to help them. I just love the Vikings. They're fun to watch.
And fun. Kevin O'Connell, I say it a lot on this show. I mean, I think he's really good. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. What he's done with all of these quarterbacks and just all of these teams, that he seems to get the most out of his talent. And that's, I think, a sign of a good coach.
He also sounds like the kind of guy who would sell insurance. So I'm good
right,
for him.
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have the Dolphins versus the Colts. So the Colts are 3-3, and I think the Dolphins are 2-3. Is that what we're going at? They're trying to climb their way to 500. So what do you got with this game?
So HN's likely back. So you got to fire him up against an Indy defense that's given up. Listen to this: 32 points to Joe Mixon, 19 points to Jacobs, 26 points to Bigsby, and 18 points to Pollard in the last few weeks. So I mean, somebody's going to eat there. It's probably going to be HN. If you're in a deep league, I would consider starting Jalen Wright. I can see his role expanding the next few weeks. That's exactly what happened with Achan last year. He kind of had a slow start, and then they had an early bye, if I can remember correctly, and then just he started taking off after that. Hill's a low-end wide receiver 2 for me, unfortunately, until I can see anything from Tyler Huntley, and Waddle's a wide receiver 3. So Indy is probably going to go back to Richardson this week, I would expect. And I'm going to be contrarian, and I'm going to say it's not going to be a bad thing for the pass catchers. So the narrative right now is Flacco supports these quarterbacks or supports these wide receivers better than Richardson has. And I agree, that's definitely been true. But I think he's going to turn it around this week, Richardson. I'm starting Downs regardless of who's at quarterback. And Goodson, Tyler Goodson, I think is a sneaky good play at running back because Sermon and Taylor are out. So my hot take, Richardson has a big day and he reestablishes himself as a starter of that team, I guess, going forward.
All right. Now the new Amari to the Bills, so that's gonna be good versus the Titans, who are 1-4. Is this the week the Titans win a game? What do you got, Ryan?
It is not the week. I don't think it is the week that the Titans win a game. I'm looking up something to prove a point here, but I'm going to start with my hot take, all right, because it sets up what I want to talk about. So my hot take is you need to go bet the Bills defense as the first touchdown scorer in this game, whatever the odds are, okay? Because Will Levis is inevitably going to throw a pick six or fumble or do something stupid to turn the ball over. What is that going to pay right now? I'll find out the odds before the end of the podcast. But to say Will Levis is a drunk Josh Allen it's an insult to Josh Allen. He's more like a Daniel Jones on bath salts, and he is just Ridley has sucked this year. He's just complaining. DeAndre, I think, is likely going to get traded by next week or the week after. I think he's a candidate to get out, maybe to Kansas City probably needs a receiver, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints still try to go do something. So Spears is probably out. So I think you can play Pollard. But I mean, the Bills better win this game. I mean, they better win this game. If you're Buffalo, you got to start Josh. You have to start Ray Davis, I think, with confidence, even if Cook comes back. Toe injuries are really tricky, especially for running backs. And I don't think Ray Davis is going anywhere soon. Joe Brady was reportedly pounding the table for the Bills to draft Ray Davis. Ray Davis has really nice eyes. You can say he has Ray Davis eyes. There you go. And if Amari does play, I will say this. I think it's going to be a limited package of plays while he learns the offense, but I do expect him to, contribute. And so he's a desperation flex play if he does start and you're in a pinch. My hot take, I'll give you one more bonus hot take here, that this will be Will Levis's last game as a starter for Tennessee. I think they're going to pull the plug. I think the Bills are going to take care of business, and Mason Rudolph starts next week for the Titans.
All right. I mean, going back to Ray Davis, like he had he's running, he's going down that field. So he's going to be fun to watch. Are you going to the game on Sunday?
I don't know. We'll see. I am not sure yet. We'll find out. TBD.
All right. TBD. I'll be there. So just, Cool. Next up, this is another interesting game, I think. Seahawks, Falcons. Look who it is.
Oh, how did I get in there quickly? I thought I was going to need to be approved to be in. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just muted his mic. Look at that. All right. I'll unmute. Okay. Sorry. Hey, buddy. Hey, how's it going?
I'm so sorry. I did not mean. I thought I was going to jump into the backstage, and then you guys were going to pull me in when you wanted. I did not mean to barge into your show, but here I am.
You are super admin, so it just and I'm a woman, so it's like get her out, and then
how's the show going, guys? What are we talking about? Seahawks, Falcons?
Yeah, we're going to talk Seahawks Falcons in a second. The Seahawks, if anyone wants to know, 3-3, and they lost last week to the Niners. So I think this is going to be a very interesting game against the Falcons. 4-2. I think they're evenly matched. By the way, Mets, shouldn't you be watching the Mets game right now?
Yeah. We're not. I am, and I know what's happening. So we went. Maybe I shouldn't give away where I am. I'm not in Buffalo, and I went to we went to a bar that did not have the game on, but had the hottest girl in this town as the bar. Listen, I'm not being mean, and I'll tell this to town later. I'm being mean. I'm going to be mean. There is, I mean, not like a 7, like nothing over a 7 in 3 days in this town. And we walk in this bar and she's so over and beyond first place that I can't give a second place hottest in this town. Like, that's how great she is. So I was like, oh, this is our spot. We're going to watch the game. We're going to see the only pretty person in this town for as long as she'll let us. And they didn't have the Mets game. So I took Mets over pretty, Allie. I think I'm growing up. Not gonna lie. And so we went to another bar, and they don't like us here too much because we're screaming and Kyle Turner's high. But Mets are not doing good right now. 2-0. We have the Sabres game on our phone. They just came back. They were down 4-3. We watched 2 goals in a row on the phone. So they're up 5-4 right now in Pittsburgh. And the Mets game's on the big TV, and that's not going good, as I'm sure you're paying attention to. But Miracle Mets, they'll still get it done.
Yeah, they'll get it. Is Pete Alonso is in, right?
Yeah, he's in. They're going to be next inning. They're finally going to pull Bueller out. Bueller's done. So we're going in the 5th here, down 2-0. Top of the order up in the bottom of the 5th. So hopefully things change.
And then I just want to give a quick update. About 9 girls just got wet from Louis giving that announcement. So wow.
I hope one of them's the girl that I just went to that bar. I hope one of them's that bartender, because man, I'm going back after the Mets game for sure. Like, I left mad. I wanted her to know how mad I was. Like, you couldn't find the Mets game. I'm mad. I'm leaving. I'm picking something else over you. But I did that like in a sense of like I wanted to make her feel hurt, you know. And
what if you just go there? What if you just go there and she couldn't find the Mets game, but she's streaming this show on the big TV?
No, you know what the worst thing will be is that I go before the game ends because it's like 6-0 and I'm done, and I go back there and the Mets game's on the TV. That will be the worst. She'll be like, "No, I just didn't want you here. Why are you wearing those glasses?" All right, I'm sorry. I really interrupted your show. Can I talk the Seahawks Falcons?
Yeah.
All right, go. You give your
first.
Yeah, we're gonna let Ryan go first.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Seattle's been very pass heavy. They've had mixed results. In the last couple weeks, Metcalf has really stalled out. So I think he's a touchdown dependent wide receiver 2, low end. Atlanta has been very good against number 1 receivers. JSN probably a wide receiver 3, Lockett boom bust wide receiver 4. I think Walker's going to struggle against this defensive front. Atlanta's got a really good line, so he'll probably be more like a wide running back 2 this week. I think London's a must start. He's just getting peppered with targets, and although Seattle's like nearly top 10 against the run, I'm still starting Bijan as a high end running back 2, and Algier as a low end running back 2. So I don't really have a hot take on this game. I think Atlanta's a better team. That's it.
We let her get control of the Louis being mean, Louis vaping. You love control. I actually am going to let you be. I'm going to let you take control of the shows going forward because this is a lot funnier. I think that this is going to be a high-scoring game and everybody is playable, right? I want to know one thing about how you feel, Ryan, about the Algier Robinson thing, because I know everyone was like freaking out about after Bijan had like the monster first half that they really went to Algier a lot in the second half, but like at the end of the day, if that's their plan and they're both being productive, I don't understand. I think most people shitting about that are just Bijan owners that want him to go off every week. But I think that's what you have to expect going forward. Like, I think it's like 60-40 and it's going to be, and I think both of them are going to be startable most weeks.
I think it's a very similar situation to what's going on in Detroit. And for some reason, just like you're saying, people can't seem to wrap their mind around that. And like, they just kind of, they overcorrect, and they have a problem with Bijan, but they don't have a problem with Gibbs and Monty. So, I'm with you on that. I'm starting both of them if I have, any reason to.
I hate
Wait, what do we love?
I hate me.
I love that you're having fun. No, I'm loving it.
All right, that was a hot take. So next we're going to go to a game that no one needs to watch. The Texans versus the Packers. Any hot takes, or should we just move on from this game?
Yeah, I mean, we can keep this one really short. I'll just give you my hot take. Dameon Pierce is going to be a touchdown scorer. All right. I know this is my week. Listen, he's the running back too. And now he's I think uncontested now. You got Dare Ogunbowale or whatever. I can't say his last name. You have Cam Akers gone in Minnesota now. So I still don't know if Mixon is like 100% healthy. And like, I like the chances of Pierce getting a chance. So.
I would love that more than, or as much as you, if not more, as far as our investments, but I'm giving up on the Pierce thing. The one person I want to talk about this game, because I think it's pretty, I mean, the Packers wide receivers are very interesting every week, right? Like there's 4 of them, and the Dubs drama that turned into no drama, and then he has the monster game is crazy. But I don't love picking out of those 4 each week. I think you almost have to start the top 3 every week: Watson, Dubs, and Reed. But so that's always fun. The one guy that in this game that I'm kind of trying to sell if I could this week, or maybe even next week if he has a big game here, I think Tank Dell is going to get like I think he's going to get overvalued here, even if he has a big game in Collins' absence. I think this is a guy in a dynasty aspect that you can take advantage of this small opportunity with Collins out. I think he was really showing bad numbers and bad at, like his route running numbers weren't great the first few games with all 3 of them in. And I know Diggs isn't going to be there long term, but I don't know. He's a guy that I want to sell as high as I could. So if he has like a monster game this week, I'm just wondering where you're at on him and his value going forward, and what you think he's going to do here with Collins out.
I think there's always a price for a player, but right now I'm probably more towards a hold than a sell on Dell. I get the underlying numbers did not look good when all 3 of them were out there for the first couple of weeks of the season, but you mentioned a very big point. That's Diggs not being there for long term, and I just think that he's going to have a need. Stroud is going to always have a need for, I think, a good, productive slot receiver. Maybe with this broken leg too from last year, maybe they're trying to ramp him up slowly this year, right? And just kind of slow play it. I could see him really taking off the next couple of weeks, and yeah, it might level off when Collins gets back. But I'm more holding Dell unless I get someone equal value, and there's always a player I might like more in the same range.
What are you watching on TV instead of the Bengals versus the Browns game? Right now, the Bengals are projected to win. Are we just going to let them have fun and then give them orange slices after the game? Do we even want to talk about this? Is that
that's not a primetime game, right? This week? No,
it's a 1 o'clock.
Okay. So anything else, like you said, I don't know. The Browns become a little bit interesting to think about who's going to become the second wide receiver there. Is it going to be Cedric Tillman or Elijah Moore now that Cooper got traded? I as a guy that always believed and loved Elijah Moore early on, like I kind of hope this maybe gives him some value, and might be attacking him before a week where he goes 7 for 105 this week and whatever. But I know a lot of people like Cedric Tillman. He hasn't done shit, right? Like he hasn't done anything. So I've never been really highly invested in him as a player or his profile. So like I think Judy goes off the charts right now. Like, and I'm saying that as somebody that's really invested in Judy, but I think he becomes like a top. He's a wide receiver 2 for sure for the rest of the season for me. I think Njoku gets a boost from this, obviously for sure, and I'm still, is Chubb back this week, Ryan? Or no? Yes, for sure.
Yep.
That's going to be like a real slow burn that makes like none of the running backs attractive at all, right?
But
like
Ford, I think, is out this week. I do think Ford's out this week.
I saw that he was questionable. Is it out now for sure? Or you don't know? Okay, all right. But even that, like, I still find them finding a way to get like Foreman and Pierce Strong involved. It's not like Chubb's going to come back week 1 and run the ball 25 times, is he?
No, I don't think so. I mean, but if you are a risk taker and someone that likes feel good stories, there's nobody better in the world to want to root for than Nick Chubb. So it's an open backfield to me mostly. I think they need the run game big time, and if he's healthy, they are going to probably let him get some work. But you're right, it's not going to be a full workload. I think Njoku is the biggest winner on the Browns, but it's still negligible in my opinion. It's not. None of those guys are going to be league winners in my opinion. Cincinnati, as much as I've hated on them recently, I think they are better than their record shows. So I'm starting Burrow, Chase, Higgins, and Chase Brown. Honestly, at running back, he's taken over. My hot take, and this is a scorching hot take given the tenor of how this has looked lately, but I think Stefanski finally convinces ownership after this game to bench Watson. I think this is his last one. I think it's going to go really badly, and this is the final straw.
I'd love to see that. We'll see. I'm going to let you guys move on. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you guys having me as a guest. I felt I always love your show. Tune in every week. I'm going to go back and listen to the Mets game. I'm very excited. I'm going to go home drunk tonight or go back to my Airbnb drunk and listen to probably not the whole episode, but definitely the draft. I'm excited for your draft. And I'm excited for that. You guys have a great rest of your show, and I will see you Wednesday.
See you Wednesday. Be safe, and I hope good luck with the 4 out of 10 in your neck of the woods. I'm very, very.
You want to know what? You want to know what happened? And Kyle laughed. Kyle was really high. I felt good. Kyle never gives me a compliment. When he was, I never shut up. When I said bye, and I'm like, here's a story for 10 minutes. No, Kyle never gives me a compliment. It was like, I think you're the only one out of us that, because if you're stupid pizzazz, I hate this, but go and, I think you should try and be. And so he gave me he pumped it up. And then about 5 minutes later, the hottest guy in the city walked in, and I was like, damn, what's the chances? Like, nobody's good looking in this town. And all of a sudden, the hottest girl and the hottest dude were in the same bar. And I was like, this is just destiny. I got to go. I let destiny happen. I left so those two could be happy.
I thought you were going to go over to them and tell them that you thought that they were each the hottest people in their, in the bar.
I think Kyle was about to. Anyways, let's go Mets. And we will talk soon, guys. Have a fun rest of your show.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
See you soon.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, bye. Oh, look at, we love Louis.
Wow.
We missed him. Louis will watch this show at some point and be so embarrassed at how the intro went. So, Louis, I know he's still backstage. You just wait till you see how I messed up that intro. So we are getting, we're going to do a speed round on these. We're just going to get a couple of hot takes. Eagles versus Giants.
Yeah. I'm happy Malik Neighbors is back. I just want to keep seeing him. So yes, I'm still not a believer in the Eagles. This is a game that I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants won. They're kind of starting to roll a little bit here. So, and my other hot take is that yes to Tyrone Tracy over Singletary for the most part. I think they're going to let the talent kind of dictate the touches, and he's explosive, especially in the passing game. So start him again. Nice.
Raiders versus Rams. What's your take, Ryan?
I think we're going to have Jacoby Myers get close to a 30% target share for the Raiders because they have nobody to throw to outside of Brock Bowers. So it's going to be those two in a very concentrated offense. I think if they could ever figure out a decent pass catcher, it'd be really fun to watch, but it won't be until next year. And the Rams, I'm gonna hope to see something a little bit more out of Blake Corum. He's starting to get more of a look, and I wonder if his role expands a little bit.
All right. Next up, will the Panthers win their second game this season versus the Commanders?
No, they will not. I think we're very close to a return to Bryce Young. They're 1-5. The season's over. So you're starting Chuba Hubbard because he's getting the volume. Jonathan Brooks just had his practice window open, but he's probably not returning for at least another week or two. So stay away there. Deontay Johnson is sustainable with Dalton, so you can keep him in. And then on the Commander side, yes, you got to start Jaden Daniels. Eckler could potentially be the starting running back this week and get a ton of touches against the league's worst rushing defense. So fire him up big time. And then McLaurin is a stud. So love the Commanders this week.
All right. In a game that I think is going to be not interesting, but I think the 49ers are going to win this game. What's your take on the Chiefs versus 49ers?
I think this is one of those, you have to like exercise your demons games, right? That, but the Bills have been in some of these games over the years, right? When you've lost to the opponent in the playoffs so many times, you get that regular season game and you want to take care of business. I mean, I still love the 49ers as a team. I thought that for a big portion of last season that they were the best team in the NFL. I mean, they were very close. I mean, obviously almost winning the Super Bowl. And, between them and the Lions, I mean, there's so many good scrappy teams, but I think that the 49ers can pull it out. I still have a really hard time betting against the Chiefs, but my hot take is that now coming out of the bye, look for Xavier Worthy to have a bigger role, not necessarily with like just the deep ball, but I think creative ways to get him the ball. I think they're going to start opening up that playbook to do, those gadgety type, screen plays. And so, if you can get him, I think now is the time to buy him before the next couple of weeks when he starts going off.
All right. Next up, we have the conspiracy theory noodle arm, which is the New York Jets versus the Steelers. What do you think?
That's great. That's so good.
Rodgers,
let's talk about the Steelers first. I still cannot fathom why they are supposedly going to Russell Wilson this week over Justin Fields, who has done nothing but I think secure that job for himself. But I guess
agent talking to the coach. That's not them thinking. That's an agent. That's not.
Oh, I thought you said Aikman talking to the coach. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense too. He probably would lobby for the traditional style quarterback. That's he's. Overrated, yes, number one pick. So yeah, I'm not interested in any of the Steelers really. I guess no, I'm not starting Najee. I'm just not starting Najee. The Jets defense is really kind of tightened up, and I still kind of like him. I know they gave up some big plays to the Bills, but I still like that defense. And I mean, you gotta bet Devontae Adams anytime touchdown scorer, right? I mean, that's got to be almost negative money on FanDuel right now. He's going to get a touchdown. They already said he's playing, so I'm taking the Jets in that game. I really do think they're a better team than they've gotten credit for. I think all three of their losses have been by 3 or fewer points, or three of thewer losses have been by 3 or fewer points.
All right, Ravens Bucks Monday night. This is the first game. What do you think?
I think this is going to be a points fest. I think this could be a sneaky shootout. The Bucks obviously have weapons in the passing game, and Mayfield just gets it to Evans, just gets it to Godwin. I mean, they are looking pretty good on offense. The running back thing, I really think if they're smart, and I do think Todd Bowles is a good coach, I think they're going to really go to Tucker and Bucky Irving over Rashad White, even if he's healthy. And my hot take is that before I get to the Ravens, my hot take is that Rashad White is traded by the trade deadline this year. And my pick for the team that gets him is the Cowboys. It is a perfect match, almost replaces what Pollard was supposed to be for them last year. But anyways, on the Ravens side of things, yeah, you got to start Lamar. Zay Flowers is starting to come into his own and secure himself in like the top end of the wide receiver 2 tier for dynasty players. So you got to start him too. And Derrick Henry's a stud. So I tend to think the Ravens are going to win. I do think that they're kind of rolling right now. They're hard to stop.
All right. And then game 2 of Monday Night Football, we have the Chargers versus the Cardinals. Another not so interesting game, the 3-2 Chargers versus the 2-4 Cardinals. Will commercials be more exciting than this game?
Yeah, you're going to have to pay for this, believe it or not. You got to pay to get ESPN Plus if you really want to watch this game. So I can't imagine the ESPN execs feel really good about the projected return on this game. But there's not much to say. Honestly, the offense in Arizona is kind of disjointed right now. Marvin Harrison's probably going to be out again. I guess you'll want to start McBride. I'm not starting Connor if I don't have to, or any of the others. On the LA side, I guess you'll probably still want to fire up Dobbins again. He's getting the volume. Kamani Vidal is everyone's favorite sleeper. I love him too. I think this could be the week. He has some standalone value. But overall, it's just not really an exciting game. I guess if you had me pick, I'll take the Chargers.
All right. So we're going to do something very different this week since Louis not here to run the board and it's on me. We're going to improvise the cats and dogs video and then just go straight into our picks. We'll make it nice and quick. I know our time is getting close. So here's my impression of that video. Good, dogs are good, cats are bad, football, throw the ball, screen door, gabagoo. Okay. And then do you want to add anything to that video?
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating our pets.
I can't do a Trump
I
impression.
know, it's because you're a good person. That's why.
But are you going to do the emoji? Can you do the emoji?
Oh, yeah. And then so, yeah. And then just audio listeners, you're welcome. We just saved you. Visual watchers, we also just saved you 3 minutes from your life. So I'm going to do my cats and dogs of the week. My dog is Ryan for doing a massive thing of going to the Supreme Court. All Amazing. Right. Very proud of you.
Never been the dog of the week. It's great.
She is the best. I mean, hopefully that your case is won in the Supreme Court. Okay. And then my cat is New England Patriots Christian Barmore. Did you hear this thing? He is a second round draft pick of the Patriots. And he's a defensive tackle, and he was pulled over by cops, and he said that he was like basically assaulted by the police officers. It was an awful, terrible interaction with them, which we know happens, and we've seen proof of it. But the police gave, the press the body cams, and they were like super nice. They were like, "Hey, just step out of the car," and he was like, "No, you're stupid." And they're like, "No, man, just, And it was interesting because when he was in the car, he was there was someone on the phone in his like car speaker, and she just kept saying that he's on blood thinners, so be careful. And I just think a 25-year, and not, I don't know what his medical history is, but a 25-year-old professional football player on blood thinners who's afraid to get bruised, I just don't see how that connects. So and also don't lie. It's, we got to stop lying about these things. So he's my cat of the week, Christian Barmore from the New England Patriots. Who are yours?
Can't agree with that more. All right. So my dog of the week is Audric Estime. All right. I should have done that. Darn. I had the chance. It's Allie, actually. I was just kidding. No, okay. I blew it. It's Audric Estime just because I do think he's going to have a mini breakout, or at least signal that he's going to be the starting guy going forward. But it's a really risky take, and it's probably not one that we're going to be talking about next week. So this will never be heard of again. And my cat of the week will be the officiating crew from the Bills Jets game. It was just so bad. I have to just draw attention to that. I mean, not only just wrong calls and excessive calls. I get it. They have a tough job, but I mean, there was just horrible. I mean, everything was just terrible. I couldn't believe it. It was almost comical seeing how many flags we're getting on the field. So
Was it 22?
it was, I think, more than that. It was 22 at one point, but maybe I think there was one or two after that. So I think they set the record, and it was bad. So hopefully they correct that this week and not have as many penalty flags.
My hot take is they won't fix it this week. That's my hot take.
More flags coming in the future.
More flags. So we're gonna do a lovely draft in honor of our dear friend who is somewhere with Wi-Fi at least. We're gonna do a Louis draft. I don't think we prepared for this one, so it's gonna be us improvising most of these. But let's do our Louis draft. Do you want to go? Would you like to go first, since you have been in the Supreme Court this week?
All right. Well, I think in honor of our friend, the great Louis G, I think I have to make the first pick. It's just going to be Louis G. I mean, if he's the number one Louis, he's my number one Louis. So, let's hear it for Lou.
Great. I love it. My number one Louis pick for Louis is Kyle Turner. That's all I'll say. Just Kyle Turner. He's always around Louis and the buddies. All right. You're up next.
Eating teams. You just started out Louis versus Kyle. All right. So they're the captains. All right. Who's on I think you go for your second one.
Oh, yeah. Another for a Louis draft, I'm going to draft Weed because he really loves it. He always talks about it. If you ever seen Louis do stand-up, he will go on stage and just be like, I'm so high. And like, it's like a bit, but it's also real life. And I will also say, I don't smoke weed, and Louis is such a stoner that he just assumed I was because I wear glasses. So, okay.
That's
right.
Good guess, but didn't get it. All right. So my next pick is going to be Louis Hot Dogs, which is a local thing here. There's a local place in Buffalo. So if you're from Buffalo, you'll get it. Everywhere else, you'll be like, oh, this guy drafted a hot dog store. Next pick is going to just be Louis C.K. Just because of his stand-up comedy and no other reason.
Or let's do Louis Louis, the song.
Nice.
I don't know what else to say about that. And then I guess I get to close this out. Man, just do I do it cheesy or do I do something fun? Let me just okay, let's be weird. Louis the 14th, man, he really changed for him. And he got my number 4th pick. He's so great in history that he is below Weed. So Louis the 14th.
Wow. The upset pick in the top 4 is that guy's going to be a bust on the team. All right, my last Louis pick is going to be, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just had it. It's oh my gosh, I just lost it as I started talking about Louis the 14th. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. I just had it at the top of my mind.
Is it Louis Armstrong? Is it?
Oh no, Lou. Oh, I was gonna. All right, here I remembered it now. It's Lou Gehrig. Okay, but not just a baseball player, not the disease.
Thank you for clarifying. You heard it, not the disease. Okay. We just got 5 new people that jumped on. So hi, listeners. That's great. I'm glad you closed it off with in our Louis draft, which I think Ryan's gonna win. Ryan just drafted Lou Gehrig, not Lou Gehrig. Disease. Okay. Thank you, Ryan, for participating this week. You were very informative. I know it's a lot going on in week 7. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Louis will be back next week, but so will Ryan and I. And how great were we? So good. And we saved you 2 videos, so we saved saved you on time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on X. We're on Spotify. Good luck, everyone, in week 7. Have a good night. I'm trying.